CQ RAYNET, this is G4NRC, Golf 4, November Romeo Charlie, operated today by Greg, Golf 0 Delta Uniform Bravo, serving as net control for the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net. This net meets each Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time and is open to all MS radio operators interested in emergency communications. The primary purpose of the net is to provide the opportunity for members to test equipment, exchange traffic news, opinions and information, and additional information can be found on www.raynet-uk.net. This is a directed net, which means all calls are to be made to the net control station unless you are instructed otherwise, and all RAYNET UK operators are invited and encouraged to check into the net. When you do check in, please announce your call sign slowly and phonetically, followed by your name, and if you wish to leave the net immediately after checking in, then please call in and out. If you want to leave after subsequent turns, then please make it clear you want to check out at that time. I will repeat so I've heard. If you're not acknowledged, then please do try again. If you miss your turn to call in, I will call for any strays at the end of the UK and international sections. So, that said, I'll now begin taking check-ins to the RAYNET UK weekly activity net as usual in call sign number order. So any stations with figure 8 in their call wishing to check into the net, please do so now. This is G4NRC.
Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee G8 EEY. Good afternoon, Greg. Name is Mike. United. Name is Bob. Good afternoon.
G4NRC. Good afternoon, Mike. Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee. Bob, Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform. Much packet loss and broken audio. Can you tell me whether you're staying with me or in and out? Over.
G4NRC GLSDU. Yeah, it's just in and out this afternoon, Greg. It must be the weather. It's breaking the signal up.
G4NRC. Okay, right, copied you in and out. Thanks, Bob. That was much better that time. Just too broken to get all of it before. Any other 8s, please? G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing heard. So let's have 7s. The station's figure 7 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4NRC, over.
Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Good afternoon, Greg. In and out, please, Greg, if you don't mind tonight. Thank you.
RC, okay, good afternoon again, Graham, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel. And Dave, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Copied in and out, but as you gathered, we'll hopefully get you tomorrow night on the 4-metre net for West Cheshire. Any other 7s, please? G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing heard, so let's have 6s. Station's figure 6 and their call sign, please. G4NRC, over.
Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo. Good afternoon, Greg. In and out, please.
G4NRC has got Chris, Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo, copied you in and out. Any other 6s, please? G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing heard, so let's have 5. Stations figure 5 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4NRC, over. G4NRC, then let's have the 4s. Stations figure 4 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4NRC, over.
D4KL, Philip, South Sussex.
G4NRC, I think some doubling was happening there. G4KIL, Philip, good afternoon to you, staying with me. Any other 4s, please, over?
Possibly me then, G4REV Golf 4 Romeo Echo Victor, name John Sam Goldfield. In your net, please. Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot, Phil.
G4NRC, okay, good afternoon. Let's see what we've got. Golf 4 Kilo with Lima Phillips already recognised. G4REV, John, good afternoon to you. Copied in and out. Phil, G4HUF, good afternoon to you. Now, my confusion was actually another G4 who just simultaneously seemed to call in, but I see it was on the alternative calling talk group, not 23531/502351, so I'll assume that's no more 4s for the moment. We can always call in the strays a bit later. Let's have 3s. Stations figure 3 in their call sign, please. G4NRC, over.
Golf 3, Zulu Hotel X-Ray, Ian.
G4NRC, good afternoon, Ian. Golf 3, Zulu Hotel X-Ray. Any other 3s, please, over? Nothing heard, so let's have 2s. Stations figure 2 in their call sign, and that includes you intermediate 2s. Please call now. G4NRC, over.
2E0MZA, Elodie, South Sussex RAYNET.
G4NRC, good afternoon, Elodie. 2 Echo 0, Mike Zulu Alpha. Any other 2s, please? G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing heard, so let's have 1s. Stations figure 1 in their call sign. Please go ahead. G4NRC, over. Just in case, let's have a second call. Any stations figure 1 in their call sign. Please go ahead. G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing heard, so let's go for Mike 0, stations of any regional secondary identifier, please, over. G4NRC, this just seems strange, we've broken all the Mike 0s, let's try again. Mike 0, stations of any regional secondary identifier, over.
G4NRC, MI0, MSO, Philip in Northern Ireland, in and out.
Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, G4NRC. Good afternoon, Philip. Nice to know I haven't lost an entire call sign range there. Copied you in and out. Enjoy the rest of your day. So let's go for Golf 0, stations of any regional secondary identifier, please. G4NRC, over.
Golf Whiskey Zero, Juliet Lima X-Ray. Good afternoon, Greg. Name is Andy, Raynet, Pembrokeshire. No traffic today, so in and out, please. Over.
D4NRC, good afternoon, Andy. Golf Whiskey Zero, Juliet Lima X-Ray, and acknowledged you are in and out. So let's take my usual shortcuts. Have we got any UK stations who missed their turn? Any UK stations missed their turn? Please call now. G4NRC, over.
Mike Zero, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, Drew, West Devon.
G4NRC, good afternoon, Drew. Mike Zero, Mike Foxtrot Sierra. That's feeling better. Right, do we have any international liaison stations? That's usually Nordsamband of Norway, Arran in Ireland, Aries in Slovakia, etc. Any of our international colleagues, please? G4NRC, over. G4NRC, then anybody UK or international who's missed their turn to call in, please call now. G4NRC, over.
Golf 4, Whiskey, Quebec, Bravo.
For Whiskey, Quebec, Bravo. Good afternoon, Keith. And you're copied onto the list. Brilliant. Stations just stand by while I try and type and think at the same time. G4NRC. So, this is G4NRC in the RAYNET UK activity period on 23531, Pheonix and Brandmeister 5023531 on the RAYNET UK server. Usual reminder, today's net is being live streamed by Graham, G7NEH, to YouTube today, or at least I hope it is. Past live streams and recordings are available by searching G7NEH on YouTube. Graham and I have been out on a Chester Half Marathon today, which poses one of our quiz questions as we run down the net. Does the number of participants in an event affect your risk assessment? Our half marathon today has never had more than 4,000 people actually finish it. Usually after COVID it's only been 3,000. The organisers were still holding to, we have 6,000 people entered. So what do you think you should be planning for the low number or the high number, or does it make no difference at all in you thinking how much traffic it might actually cause? The other little learning point out of today's event was I ran a data hotspots on a pay-as-you-go sim, just for fun. My data use for the event, just for keeping the SAR stuff log going and Google Maps for traffic issues, was a whole 1 gigabyte across 3 hours. So I wonder, people who use data on events, do you keep track of what gets used? So again, so you understand how much traffic a proper emergency might cause. And finally, if you go searching for ThunderSec, that's Foxtrot, November, Romeo, Alpha, Sierra, Echo, Charlie, who are our opposite numbers in France, they have a very good video. It's about 8 minutes long from French national TV, dealing mostly about amateur radio, but there's a couple of minutes about how they do emergency communications bedded in the middle as well. Do you ever think we'd actually make it onto national TV? So, with those philosophical or rhetorical questions, let's go to Mike. Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC from G8EEY, nothing to think about there then. So I'll keep the weather short. It's warm and sunny with a slight breeze from the north. Yeah, well, on the grounds that we did an awful lot of risk assessment planning at work, yeah, I tend to look at the worst possible scenarios, try to include everything. You can't really put a limit on how many people. You've really got to go for doing the job properly in the first place. Data, we haven't used much in the way of data at the moment. I have a 4G WIMO WIMO, whatever they call them, mobile hotspots, which I could deploy. But yeah, it's amazing how much data you can stack up, even just running tests. So you've got to keep an eye on it. Yeah, I must admit, RAYNET hasn't really appeared on national TV. Over so many decades, they've rather preferred to not mention RAYNET, because it takes the eye off the first responders. But it happens once in a while. I can't remember the last time we had it. The only time it might have been useful, I suppose, with Townsend Torreson and Piper Alpha rigs, but of course most of that was offshore, so we weren't that involved. From G8 EEY.
Golf 8. Sorry, my bad. Golf 4 November Romeo Charlie, returning to Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee. Been pushing the PCT too often today. I've actually found it quite surprising that national TV on a flagship news programme at the top of the hour would actually spend 8 minutes on a hobby. It wasn't just RAYNET. I'm still trying to get to the bottom of who prepared this piece and why it got prepared. It included contesting, general activities, CW, etc. But the 2 minutes of emergency comms activities was interesting to see. But yes, you are going back quite a way, Mike, when challenges were probably a little harder trying to get onto TV when you only had 3 channels, or was it 4? So, slightly different one. Yeah, the hotspot, the wireless hotspot, I think I'm going to try a different experiment with even less data and not try running Google Maps and just see how low I can go. But it was interesting just telling St John that my hotspot was working when theirs wasn't initially. Not that I enjoyed that much. Okay, next to Graham, fellow sufferer, G7 NEH, G4 and RC, over. November Echo Hotel, G4 and RC, then for posterity, I'll repeat, for YouTube, that last week's views were 38 and there were 4 likes. But because you're using your own radio for the streaming, people won't be able to hear you transmit. Okay, yes, we haven't had much time to play with that over the last week to sort things out, but appreciated that you're still doing the streaming and we're still getting some good numbers watching it. Let's hope we can keep it interesting. Right, I'm sure I've got something else for you, but bobble my head and we'll carry on down to Philip. Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, G4. Okay, thanks, Greg. We had an event today as well, down in South Sussex, 10k run. Went very well, nice weather. Probably a bit hot for the runners, but very pleasant for us. Linked with that, your question about number of participants and risk assessments and so on. Not sure I can speak authoritatively to it. Off the top of my head, my feeling would be, well, our main assessment of risks would be places that participants are likely to come a cropper with traffic or something of that sort, and that's primarily that's going to be there, however many there are. Obviously, the more people there are, the bigger risk there is, but that wouldn't necessarily mean that we would have more people there on a particular crossing, or or watching it, reporting the traffic from the marshals. So that's off the top of my head anyway. Data storage, can't say anything about that at all in terms of data used on an event. So I think the other thing I've mentioned, tomorrow night I will probably go up to a local hill that looks over towards the north, over Weald, as they call it, from the South Downs, where I was actually last week with the Mills on the Air, and did manage to contact on FM, 200 miles, I think it was, over to the Shropshire. So that was quite nice. It was somebody, specifically trying to do up a hill, trying to do sofa, I think it was. But that was good. But anyway, if anybody felt like coming up, well, I'm up there because of that's when we have our local RAYNET call round on 144.625. If anybody wants to have a listen and even have a call in to me when our net's finished, 8:30 to 9 is the net itself. Of course, QSY another frequency if you want to chat. So it'd be interesting to know what I can get to from there. So I'll mention that one. Okay, that's it for me for the moment. G4 NRC, G4 KIL.
G4KIL, G4 NRC returning. Okay, sadly in that time slot, Mike and myself will be in a committee of management meeting, so not be playing anything, but I did realise after getting some photos of the aurora and listening to the effects on HF, I actually did nothing about trying to listen for any auroral contacts on 2 meters. So I'm kind of hoping the next time we get a decent blast of auroral activity, I will go for some DX, but in a slightly lazy manner of letting the propagation come to me rather than going up on a hilltop to find it. But we will deal with that as it comes. So I'm glad, yes, your comments about people where you think they're most likely to fall over. There are some other events in Cheshire, more in Phil's area, which we'll come to next, where you could pretty much say the last mile of the event was an ambulance parking zone, because everybody would wait till the last mile to fall over. You didn't need anybody any earlier than that. So, yeah, you do know where to go, and we are, at the end of the day, reinforced by our organisers today. We are only there to communicate. We're not there to do anything else. Right, down to Phil. Golf 4, Hotel Uniform Foxtrot to G4 NRC, over.
G4HUF, yep. Okay, good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon to everybody else on the net. We'll do our usual trick and turn this into a Cheshire net now. With regard to the activities, obviously you survived today, which I'm pleased to hear. And I was able to keep Patricia happy by spending the day scraping off wallpaper. Which seems to be the main task at the moment. But coming away from the domestic excitement, I heard you mention a 4-meter net tomorrow night. Just remind me what time that's on, and I'll see if I can listen out on that one. Is the first thing. Secondly, with regard to our current only event on the calendar for Dane Valley, the Winkle Trout Race. Interesting to think about risk assessments, particularly bearing in mind the issues that Paul G70JA experienced last year with poorly equipped runners on a very hot day, and also thinking about the risk assessments to our crew that are going to be there. Something, to be quite honest with you, I have not considered yet, but clearly I need to sit down and have a little think about that and make an effort. But the important thing is to plug the event and say, if any of your guys from West Cheshire want to get adventurous, they will be more than welcome, Greg. G4NRC, G4HUF.
Or HUF, G4NRC returning. Okay, right, so many things and so little time there, Phil. If you're having problems scraping off wallpaper, I can only say you put it on too well last time around. It's your fault for putting too much glue on. Poorly equipped runners. One of the comments today for the number of runners who were requiring assistance was a observation that runners weren't really built to work in this heat. We were sitting around 21, 22 degrees in the shade. It was probably much worse out actually in the sun running around. And there was just no amount of water you could put on board a runner who would keep them going in it like that. So, yes, poorly equipped runners can people actually sustain doing these events in the months that we're asking them to do them, or we will have to go into slightly more seasonal weather. Full meter net for West Cheshire tomorrow is 70.350. He says, hopefully, that he's remembered it right. The Cheshire frequency 70.350 at 19:30 local time. I am on quite a grim duck and run on this one. I'll have a halfway vertical up and some PMR gear because I've been struggling with what I think is a DEF 7300 for the last couple of nets. So I'm hoping I do actually work somebody before having to leave and do the com meeting at 8. And yes, I will circulate your events to West Cheshire. I think I might have a couple of people who are enthusiastic, who go to events anywhere and might be available for that, but we'll see what clashes come up. Okay, next to Ian, Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4 and RCM.
G4 NRC in the group, G3ZHX. Good afternoon all. Yes, starting at the very top, congratulations to Graham. The voice the last week and this week is very much better. And I actually did listen to some of this week on the YouTube channel briefly, but I can't hold that up because the delay is making it impossible to make this transmission timely had I kept going. As regards data usage on events, oh no, sorry, I've just done one. Risk assessments. I've only done one risk assessment, and that was during an AGM, which Greg might remember. I think it was the one that was nearest to me the last time we had it. And now I'm no longer a deputy controller. I will not be likely to do another one. But it occurs to me that the number of competitors on the event is really not a problem. That is a problem for the marshals, and as you said last week, we do not do marshalling, or should not do marshalling. It's difficult enough to stay on in control of the channel. Moving on. Oh yes, the point I was going to make was if the number of competitors is very large, then perhaps we ought to consider not doing the event at all. On the grounds of safety, but I can't honestly justify that. It seems to me that we should do whatever we can, however many people there are, even if there's sort of 10,000. We should still be attempting to maintain their safety. As far as our safety is concerned, that's just the length of time the event is on, and if you look at the Tour de Triggs, that runs 24 hours nearly. So I don't think that really makes a lot of difference. Data usage, I'm just getting into using a hotspot, and so I am watching data usage. And using a giffgaff card, I can actually get the data usage live off their server whilst the event is running. I'm up to 2.5 minutes. I'm just going to drop the carrier and restart. Right. Continuing on, the French TV video would be interesting if they put it up on an accessible channel. As should you find out, I for one would like to hear about it, and it would probably be worth putting in the weekly news. But of course, that may not happen. Oh yes, and the final thing I was going to say is wallpapering. I have sympathy. I once had to take the wallpaper off our living room, and there were 9 layers thick, which in the corner went up to 20 layers. Sorry, 18 layers, where the overlaps happened. And two layers were vinyl and they were interspersed, so it actually took several complete rounds to get the whole thing off. And that was a really painful experience. I expected to have the whole room redecorated in a week, and a fortnight later I was still stripping wallpaper. Anyhow, that's enough from me, G3ZHX. Back to you.
You said HXG for NRC returning. Okay, I can cure that request for wear. If you go to Funrisec's website, which is Foxtrot November Romeo Alpha Sierra Echo Charlie.org, Oscar Romeo Golf, funrisec.org, it comes up as a splash overwhelming their main front page, so you can't miss it. I discovered it because I was reaching around for something else that they'd done, and I'm not being allowed to browse any further. I felt like I had to watch it. It's 6 minutes 25, and it was on the 8 o'clock apparent news programme on TF1, which I think is the main channel. So it was posted 28th of April, relates to something I think they got on their show on the 17th of May. But that's how you can get it. It is very accessible because they push it in your face. Right, Elodie, round to you. 2 Echo Zero, Mike Zulu Alpha, G4 and RC, over.
This is G0 for G4 and RC. Right, I see if I remember all the questions. First one around risk assessments. Comments I agree with, we're there to pass messages, not marshal. However, the size of the event and the number of participants can, at least in my view, have an indirect impact on us because scale could mean that the increased load of the message traffic being passed. So we need to kind of account for the mental load on the operators supporting the event. So in that respect of the risk assessment, the other comment about ill-prepared runners, there's an alternate piece. I'll relate this because it all happened to me. I didn't fully account for the weather today down here on the south coast, and I didn't have enough fluids with me. I got by, but as we're getting into the warmer months and events, we do need to make sure that we're fully prepared with we carry enough fluids to keep ourselves hydrated and functional as well as should the participants in the events that we're supporting as well. Data, I can't really speak to data. Haven't had the comment to cause to use that in an event so far. I'm going to hand back for a quick one for a reminder because I can't remember what the last question was. Should we do it?
Zero, Mike Zulu Alpha, G for NRC returning. Yeah, no problem. We do seem to have opened up more than a few rabbit holes today. Yeah, it was the indirect impact on increased message passing was where I was wondering if people would leap on. Certainly St John at one point through the course of the day thought they were operating 5 radio channels. They reduced it down to only 2 or 3, I think, during the event to segregate, but in olden times it would have been done on just 1 frequency. So the joys of digital or not. Okay, 2 to go. Drew, Mike Zero, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, M0 MFS. Okay, I've already forgotten one of the questions, but on the risk assessment front, the last event we've been doing, the risk assessment that the organisers put together was absolutely amazing and really well covered, and an awful lot of it covered our bit as well. So there wasn't really very much for us to do on top of it. As far as data is concerned, I limited experience, and I'm lucky that I've got a number of unlimited sims courtesy of someone. So I don't really look that closely at daily usage. I guess it's something I should put on the list for the next event. Just myself, I owner of a Motorola DR3000, which I'm hoping to get up and configured as a DMR repeater for the Goose Fair event. And other than that, yeah, lovely weather down here, and I'll catch you all on the next time. Over.
Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra G4 and RC. Okay, not sure whether you meant on that one you're leaving the net now or whether you're catch us on the next round, but it'll be self-evident, I think, when we get to the back end of the next one. Unlimited SIMs, well, I do too. My Vodafone has unlimited SIM, but I've had a couple of occasions where the signal has not been so good, and my hotspot is on EE. And since EE is supposed to be trying to become the emergency network of choice, then I usually figure if I give that a go, I'll have a better chance of getting a connection. So that's why I did it that way today. Okay, final word for the declared stations. Keith, Golf 4, Whiskey Quebec Bravo, G4 and RC, over.
G4WQB returning. I was attempting earlier to get onto the net via the Aylesbury Vale repeater. I knew in testing before that it came up with London Brandmeister, and I can hear everything, but unfortunately it didn't seem to work properly. In terms of risk assessment, to be very trite, expect the worst and hope for the best. And there are some things that will be common to all risk assessments, but then if you are, I don't know, running an HF station in the middle of the woods somewhere overnight, or you've got an event with multiple shifts of operators, then there are additional things that you must add in. But the risk assessment, of course, is not about the event, it's about the operators. We are not risk assessing whether a runner is going to collapse. We're risk assessing what the effect is on a RAYNET operator. That's all from me, and I'll just listen now, but won't come back. G4NRC, G4WQB.
Golf 4, Whiskey Quebec Bravo, G4 and RC returning. Okay, yeah, totally get it. Risk assessment should be for our own operators, but there is, as been mentioned earlier, there is also the effect on people. If you have a queue of casualties waiting to get a message through and they're not apparently getting fast answers, that can get stressful another way around. And I have had a bit of a hobby horse for a while about people not really understanding how many messages might get passed on an event. I tend to look at our log sheets and think a half marathon should be around 7 pages and a full marathon should be around 15, a little bit more. And it's when you get more than that, then obviously the day was worse than people had planned. Right, good comments. I'm going to take, because there was one random blip through the middle of that, is there anybody who's been listening to the RAYNET UK activity period that just wants to chime in quickly for a stop and go contact before I run down the list one more? So anybody waiting to call it in G4 and RC, over. For an RC, an answer came there, none. Right, let's go for second and final rounds then. Back to you, Mike. Golf 8, Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC, over.
G4NRC from G8EEY. Well, some interesting stuff there. I must admit, as far as I'm concerned, everybody is responsible for their own risk assessment. And unfortunately, if you happen to see that another section, e-marshals or whatever, and you see that they're doing something that is definitely not recommended, then you do need to make some comments on that. we had a cycle race in the city of Norwich that had a very sharp hairpin bend at the bottom of a hill outside a pub, and there were piles of hay bales outside the pub, so people were using them as seats to watch the event. And I did try and move them, but the one thing that did move them was when somebody had a blowout at about 40 miles an hour and absolutely bailed out into those hay bales, and they soon got the idea that maybe that was not good. One thing that you need to keep an eye on, especially this time of year, lightning. So when you're out there in the middle of an event and you've got your mast up at 20 metres or whatever, or an HF antenna, be aware that you can suddenly end up with a problem from lightning if you see something coming over. EE in Norfolk is very poor, so I must admit I tend to use O2. Yeah, the things tend to look for heat stroke, hypothermia, hyperglycemia, and dehydration leading to cramp. And it can happen in hot weather, it can happen in cold weather. So you have to watch out for that. And I remember that I was stationed at Geist for a cycle ride right from the North Norfolk coast to the centre of Norwich. And I had to use a 9-metre mast at Geist Green for the radio. And in fact, that's the only way you could get a cell signal. So I definitely was not running less than 25 watts ERP from there. And as for wallpaper, I just remember anaglypta and wood chip. Wouldn't want to go through that again. From G8 DEY.
Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee G4 and LC. I'd want to run wood chip and make an appearance since I had similar problems. Right, this starts to get like an episode of Ham Radio Workbench where there's a side topic on lawnmowers and other stuff. So thanks Mike, thanks for coming on today. Talk to you tomorrow. We'll move rapidly on to Graham and see how many viewers we've gained or lost because of decorating activities. G7NEH, G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC returning. Okay, Graham. Thanks for the updates. We'll see how those figures grow over the week as people play catch up for the nets. And once Cheshire Phoenix are playing in the basketball final as we speak, so once we finish the net and that game's over, I'll be trying to take as much stuff back to the storage unit as possible after today's event, so I actually have some room to move, which will be another fun time. Thanks for doing the streaming, and we shall move on to Phil. Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot, G4 and RC, over.
This is G4HUF. Okay. Got me slightly unawares there, but never mind. I was relaxing, thinking about something else, but listening at the same time, and suddenly heard my call sign. Right. Well, thank you for reminding me of the times of your net tomorrow. I'll make the effort and see if we can be heard. And thank you for plugging my event on June the 8th. The interesting part of that, of course, is on that same day we have the stage 3 of the Women's Tour of Britain, which starts and finishes in Warrington, but based on what I'm aware of with cycling events like that, I don't think it should be a particular problem, unless, of course, you manage to time things so that you cross the path of the course that the ladies are taking at the wrong moment. But I shall generate an email and pass all the significant details across to you, Greg, so that if you do have anybody who's interested, we can play fair and give them the chance to look at this lot and think, oh God, no, I don't want to get involved in that. I hope not, but there we go. Risk assessments, yes, interesting. I'm thinking, and I really ought to be making notes while I'm thinking, but it's a case of thinking about other things as well. So with that, I shall say 7-3s. My apologies for hijacking the national net and turning it into a Cheshire net. And we'll try and endeavour to be around next Sunday afternoon to further the cause. G4NRC, G4HUF.
For HUF, G4NRC returning. Okay, yeah, no problem. It's a long time since I've looked at the stats on the National RAYNET server to see who is the leading zone. But everything goes in cycles, Phil, and other zones do tend to get their say on the net as well from time to time. Women's Tour of Britain cycling event. It is like the men's, which has passed through my village at least twice, I think, so far. The way they go, it's blink and you miss it. There's 10 minutes of rolling road closures, and then they're gone. So it was not a massive impact on everybody else. It's just a rolling torrent of cyclists. Not quite as genteel, if you like, as the Wrinkle Trout Fell race. But anyway, yeah, send me the information. I shall pass it on to West Cheshire, and we'll see what we get. Right, Ian, thanks very much. Hopefully you found the French TV video. Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, G3ZHX. Now, a slightly red face here. I've just got the name of the French organisation. When you passed it to me, I was fumbling to get my pen out. I thought I'd pick it up from the video later, which, if this doesn't work, I shall. In the meantime, thank you for running the net, and I shall hand it back to you. G4NRC, this is G3ZHX.
Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4NRC returning. The system seems to be getting a bit sluggish. Okay, poise your pen, and having got your pen poised, Funrasec, Foxtrot, November, Romeo, Alpha, Sierra, Echo, Charlie. Funrasec, Foxtrot, November, Romeo, Alpha, Sierra, Echo, Charlie, .org, and you will find what you need. Okay, maybe if you remember to comment about that next week, we'll actually have a rolling topic from one net to another, rather than the random rants of Greg. Thanks for coming on today, Ian, and look forward to talking to you soon. Elodie, final from you, please, to Echo Zero, Mike Zulu Alpha, G4NRC, over. To Echo Zero, Mike Zulu Alpha, 20MZA, G4NRC, over. G4NRC, looks like Elodie's been distracted elsewhere. Drew, you're the last one on my list. Mike Zero, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, M0MFS. Yeah, I think you lost the end of my over from the last time, because I did say, thanks for running the net, and I would drop out from there. But as I'm the last, I'll take that as the last from Greg and say thanks for running the net, and catch you all guys next week from M0MFS.
Oh, Mike Fox. Should try again. Mike Zero, Mike Fox, Sierra Chief for an RC. Oh, I got it. It wasn't unambiguous, if you like, Drew, the way you left it, whether or not you were going to come back or not. So since you came back and put your head up against the parapet, then thank you. Acknowledge. Thanks for coming on today. I'll just try one more call for Elodie, and then we will call it quits. And I will go and watch what could be a depressing basketball game. 2 Echo 0, Mike Zulu Alpha, 2E0 MZA, Chief for an RC, over. For an RC. Okay, nothing heard. Philip will just find out what happens when he has their net tomorrow night. But otherwise, let's bring the net to a close. Thanks everybody for taking time out of your schedule to participate this afternoon on what is for most people a wonderful sunny day. Be careful, have a good week, and until next Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time, I will now close the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net and return talk groups 23531 on Pheonix and Brandmeister and 2350-23531 on RAYNET-UK, back to being an open net rather than a directed net. 730, this is Golf 4 November Romeo Charlie now closing and reverting to my normal call sign of Golf 0 Delta Uniform Bravo.